Hey, Julianne, looks like we've got a new carrier behind us.
No, Josh, that's the USS Kitty Hawk.
Ah, the Kitty Hawk, okay. But Bremerton is getting a new carrier, yeah?
That's right, the USS Carl Vinson is coming to Bremerton sometime within the next few months for some maintenance at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard.
Cool. All right, and we have 5 things that you just got to know about the Carl Vinson coming up on this week's Bremerton Beat Blast. Stick with us. Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Today is a special episode we're going to devote entirely to the arrival of the USS Carl Vinson. Joining me is Julianne Stanford, our intrepid military affairs reporter here at the Kitsap Sun. Welcome, Julianne.
Thanks for having me on, Josh.
So, what do we need to know about the USS Carl Vinson?
So the last time the USS Carl Vinson was in Bremerton was in 2005, and it actually left to make room for the USS John C. Stennis, which was coming up from San Diego. Coincidentally, the Vinson is currently homeported in San Diego as well.
Okay, and how big is the ship? What kind of a ship is it? Can you give us some background?
So the Carl Vinson is a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. It has a flight deck that's about 4.5 acres, and it has about 3,000 sailors that will be coming with the ship to Bremerton, bringing along its families with them.
Okay, and is there a swap that's occurred that's made the Vinson possible to come here?
So the Navy is actually doing a big 3-carrier swap. So the Vinson will be coming here from San Diego. The USS John C. Stennis will be leaving Bremerton after it heads out on its next deployment, and it will be going to Virginia for its midlife refueling overhaul. And the Abraham Lincoln will be moving from Virginia to San Diego. So Josh, what can you tell me about the ship's namesake, Carl Vinson?
Well, Carl Vinson was a congressman from Georgia, and he served for 50 years. He died in 1981, a year before the Carl Vinson was officially commissioned, and he's sometimes referred to as the father of the two-ocean Navy.
Up next, we have a few notable stories about what the USS Carl Vinson has been up to since it was commissioned in 1982.
One thing that you'll remember is in 2011, May 2nd to be exact, the U.S. military, through the Navy SEALs, SEAL Team 6, went into Abbottabad, Pakistan, and they took out terrorist Osama Bin Laden.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama Bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Bin Laden's body was taken to the flight deck of the USS Carl Vinson, where he was given a proper Muslim burial at sea.
Osama bin Laden was buried at sea aboard the aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson in the North Arabian Sea May 2nd. Muslim religious rites were performed within 24 hours of the terrorist leader's death. According to a senior defense official, DNA testing was used to confirm the identity of bin Laden.
Now later on in 2011, the carrier was also host to a really cool sporting event, right Josh?
That's correct, Julianne. The Carrier Classic, first of its kind, was played on the flight deck of the USS Carl Vinson. They put down an entire hardwood floor. 2 NCAA teams competed. 8,000 fans looked on, including President Obama. So Julianne, I heard that the USS Carl Vinson earlier this year did a very cool and very historic port visit.
That's right, Josh. In March, the Carl Vinson was actually the first U.S. aircraft carrier to visit Vietnam in more than 40 years. The carrier docked there, and they spent about 4 days in port.
To round out our top 5 facts about the USS Carl Vinson, not 2 months ago, it performed a life-saving rescue mission. Isn't that right, Julianne?
That's right, Josh. Well, the Vinson was participating in RIMPAC, which is the largest international maritime exercise that occurs every other year. The Vinson actually received a distress call from a 36-foot vessel that ran aground near Hawaii's westernmost inhabited island, and the Vinson was operating about 7 miles away from there, and they responded to the call. They sent 2 helicopters off, and they managed to evacuate all 5 mariners.
And finally, what's on tap for your weekend, sponsored by Silver City Brewery Tap Room. This weekend, you have a chance to check out a free movie at Sea Film Cinema in downtown Bremerton. It is Shockwave. It's a 2009 documentary that talks about the possibility of the Cascadia Rising earthquake and subsequent tsunami. This is a preparedness exercise and discussion put on by both the Kitsap Resiliency Project in conjunction with the Kitsap County Department of Emergency Management. That's our show for this week, Bremerton. Special thanks to Julianne Stanford for coming on the Bremerton Beat Blast this week.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
All right, and everybody, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you again next time.